Hey guys, Dr. Pauly. We're going to be doing exercise 6 right now. The first thing you need to notice about exercise 6 is that when you have like simple numbers and stuff, that should be a dead giveaway, especially if they feel very large. But if you look over here, dimensions are in millimeters. So the first thing we need to do is go over here where it says inch pound second, and we need to move it to mmgs. Now we need to do that before we start sketching. All right, that just saves us a little trouble, especially if you've already dimensioned it. You're going to have a bad day trying to fix all those dimensions. Okay, so mmgs, millimeters, grams, second. So we're in the metric system now. Yay, metric system. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to do another revolve. Okay, you'll sense a theme for this unit. It's all about revolves. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this shape right here, okay, based on the origin, and we'll put the origin probably right here, and we'll rotate it around, and that'll give us our blank. And once we've got that, we just need to do a simple hole pattern here with a metric eighths with a 1 pitch, and then we need to come down here and we'll need to do slots, okay, and that's it, and we're finished with that. So let's go ahead and get started. Now if you notice on this drawing, only the outside is dimensioned. No, there's no real dimensions on the inside other than to tell you it's 12 millimeters thick. Okay? And I'm going to show you how to do something called an offset that'll make your life a lot easier with this. All right, so I try to show you new tools and new ways to do things as we go through this, and that's how we learn and find out what all we can do. And so I'm going to use offset on this. So I'm going to sketch this basic line. I'm going to sketch these 3 lines right now, and I'm going to dimension them. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I know I'm going to do a revolve on the right side. If you look, here's the front, here's the right side. I remember earlier I said you typically get 2 views for cylindrical features. Well, there you go, 2. And this one, he doesn't really care that the slot is only represented by the diameter of the circles. Okay. All right, so here we go. 3 lines, 175 are my overall dimensions, so right plane. I'll put in my 3 lines, 1 here, 1 this way, and 1 there. Dimension from the top line to the origin is 100, and I think it was 75 from this point to this line. 75, we'll check that in just a second. Let's make sure. Yeah, 75 and 100. Now I've got 55 to this point, and I've got 45 from this line to that point. So here is 55, and from this point to this line is 45. And now we're completely defined, fully defined. See that? All right, so you're going to say, okay, well, that's nice, but how do we get the rest of it? Well, I'm going to show you this little tool right here called offset entities. Okay, so if you click offset entities, the first thing it asks you is a parameter. And that's the thickness that you're going to, or the distance you're going to offset. So I'm going to offset this by 12. So I'm going to click over here, and we'll change that to 12 and hit enter. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the geometry that I want to offset. Now, if they're joined together or linked together, typically it'll select it all. So if I grab this, notice it grabs all 3 lines. Okay? And if you look real close, it's kind of hard to see. There's a yellow arrow. Okay, and when I move to this side of the line, it points down this way. When I move to this side of the line, it points up this way. What that does, it tells you which way it's going to offset when I click. The easiest way to understand offsets is if I click below the line, it's going to offset below it. If I click above, it's going to offset above. But it usually automatically kicks up above for the preview. Now, before I decide where to click, I know I'm going to click below the line. I'm going to, once I have it selected, it gives me some new options. And I'm going to cap the ends, all right? And I'm going to cap the ends with lines. And what that'll do is that you can see it now. It's going to join the offset to the original, all right? So now I'm going to click below it, and boom, there it is. And it's 12 millimeter offset. And so everything is exactly where it needs to be. Pretty cool, huh? All right. So I'm going to finish that. Everything's fully defined. I'm going to finish that, and we're going to revolve. Now look, remember we don't have a center line, so it's looking for an axis of revolution. And I'll just pick this line. And now I'll say OK, and we have a solid cylindrical object. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, let's go ahead and put the holes in. Okay, so I know I'm going to use a hole wizard, and let's get the we're looking at metric 8s with a 1 millimeter pitch, 21 millimeters deep. So let's do that. So let's go ahead and do a straight tapped hole. Okay, and I'm going to switch to metric, and I'm going to call it a simple tapped hole. And I'm going to go to size, and we'll find a metric 8 by 1, which is right there. And my end condition is going to be blind, 21 millimeters, and we'll leave the threading at 16, okay, because those are the defaults. All right, so 21 millimeters deep, boom. And if you notice, the threading actually stops short anyways, like this. So he's going by default settings. So just because they have a hole doesn't mean they tap the whole thing, okay? And a lot of times that lets you give a little play on tightening things and stuff like that. So we have the common hole at 21 millimeters from this point back. Remember, it doesn't count the tip. And then the threading goes up to this point, which is 16 millimeters. All right, so we've got that. As always, make sure the near side countersink and stuff is not selected. Now we'll go to position, and I'm going to pick this surface, which is the lip. And we'll notice that this one's straight up, isn't it? Okay. And they don't give you a dimension for this, so it's assumed centered. Okay. It's assumed centered. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another offset. Instead of drawing a circle and dimensioning at 6 millimeters out of 12, I'm going to say offset 6 millimeters. I'm going to grab the inside or outside circle. It doesn't matter. I'll grab the inside one. And I'll do that. Now, before I click, I'm going to say, listen, it is basically offset geometry. Okay? And I'm going to say, okay. And there it is. It's a construction line. It's offset geometry. The next thing I want to do, actually it's got a coordinate point up here, so I don't need to draw a line up and make an intersection. So I'm going to go to point, and I'll come up here and I'll snap to the cardinal point like that, and I'll say okay, and now I have that hole. Okay, boom. And I don't need to change that because it names it for me nicely. It's a MA by 1 tapped hole. All right. And now I'm going to do a circle pattern. And there are 8 of these. All right. So circular pattern, direction first. Here, so I share the center. There are 8. 360 degrees equal spacing. Feature, I'm just going to come down here and pick that. And I'm done. All right, so there's my tapped holes. Now the next thing I need to do is put these 2 slots in. Now, they give you dimension for 1, and they assume it's mirrored. And that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to mirror that down instead of drawing 2 separate slots. I mean, I could draw 2 separate slots in the same sketch, but I'm going to draw 1 and just mirror it across this line axis here. So it's 30 by 12 right off the bat. So I'm going to do a cut, extrude cut. This surface, I'm going to get my slot tool, and I'll go ahead and do a center slot. And I'm going to come above this, and we'll come out, make sure it's horizontal, and do that. Now, let's get this thing locked into place first. The first thing I want to do, I'm hitting escape so I don't have any tools selected. I'm going to grab the midpoint and hold control and grab the origin and make them vertical to each other. That way, it won't stray left or right of the center. Now let's go ahead and come over here and look at our dimensions, 12 by 30. So dimension here is 12 for the height, and center to center is 30, like so. All right, now the next thing I need to do is I need to locate it. And by locating it, it's 12.5 up from the origin. So just simply say dimension, and I'll just go from center to origin, and I'll make it 12.5, I believe it was. I get to talking and I forget numbers usually. There we go. So it's finished. All right, so in order not to have to do all that over again, I'm just going to create a little center line on the origin because that's where I'm going to flip it from. Just make it come out horizontally. And remember, this does not affect your geometry. It's a center line. Okay, and I'm going to come over here to mirror entities, and entities to mirror is going to be this. So click inside of it so it's all selected. Make sure it says copy, mirror about, this line right here, and I'm going to finish. And there we go. It's all locked in. Finish the sketch. Come in here and look. I'm going to do up to next on my cut and say okay. And there are the two slots centered up nice and pretty. So we've got everything on here. I believe I do not see any fillets, no chamfers. All right, we're good. So we've just finished exercise 6.